Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.
Well, I guess before we get out of here, man, take you guys on a little trip.
Man, let's trip.
Let's trip.
Trip
on this.
Nobody should be asked to handle this trip.
That's some heavy shit.
When you were tripping.
All right, brothers. Have you seen this? The D-Wave quantum computer.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm glad you decided to get in
Whoa.
on this. Because this one really is like one of these. Whoosh,
This is crazy.
I have an idea of what they're trying to do here, but yeah, this is way out, bro. This is out.
Insane, bro.
Because I think I brought this up when we talked about the collider. Because, you know, they're trying to displace particles and make new particles. And
yeah.
this thing right here is trying to like have two particles exist in two different places at the same time.
One particle.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, one particle exists in two different realms, you know.
At the same time,
two different
bro.
possibilities. Yeah. Go ahead, though, man.
Check this out. This is from the Sociable. It says, in quantum computing, a qubit, and this isn't the measurement for height. This is spelled qubit, which is a quantum bit, is a unit of quantum information similar to a classical computer bit. Where classical bits hold a single binary value such as a 0 or 1, a qubit can hold both values at the same time in what's known as a superposition state. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah, this stuff, wow, man.
So instead of a 0 and a 1, like on Neo in the Matrix, you see all the zeros and ones? That motherfucker's both of them at the same time. With superposition, if you're thinking in terms of particles, it means a particle can be in two places at once. This doesn't make intuitive sense, but it's one of the weirdest realities of quantum physics. What is this superposition state? It says for decades, researchers have stalled at this apparent impasse. Excuse me. They cannot say exactly what a superposition is without looking at it, but if they try to look at it, it disappears. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
So it's conscious. It knows when it's being observed.
That is crazy.
And it fucking disappears. This says, where do they go? It says a qubit in a quantum superposition of 0 and 1 states exist in two parallel universes. Similarly, 2 qubits require 4 parallel universes and so forth. Doing the math, it's easy to see that a system of 1,000 qubits spans a huge number of parallel universes. So if you got 1,000 qubits, you have 2,000 parallel universes. Because for every qubit, you have 2 parallel universes. Whether it goes into a parallel universe or not, the outcome is the same. Immense computing power on a scale that would make modern computers seem like they came from the Mesozoic era, where current computers would require tens of billions of years to solve some of the world's most challenging problems. A quantum computer would be able to find a solution in only minutes, hours, or days. All right, and then it goes on to say, following the theory, if quantum computing does collaborate with parallel universes, what is in those parallel universes? The word parallel implies something that either moves or is positioned alongside that of our own universe. Hypothetically, if a superposition can exist in two universes or two realities at the same time, then there should be similarities between the two universes that would allow the superposition to occur. So those realities are so similar that it is able to exist in both of them at the same time. Because if they weren't similar, it wouldn't be able to exist in two places at the same time. That's amazing. So it's just, they're talking about that. So I saw this. Did you want to say something?
I could, but I want to keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay. So I saw these. These are quotes from myth and mysticism in different holy books. Talking about different multiverses and parallel universes. This is from the Bhagavata Purana. It says, there are innumerable universes besides this one, and although they are unlimitedly large, they move about like atoms in you. Here's another one. It says, every universe is covered by 7 layers: earth, water, fire, air, sky, the total energy, and false ego, each 10 times greater than the previous one. There are innumerable universes besides this one, and although they are unlimitedly large, they move about like atoms in you. Therefore, you are called unlimited.
Okay, I think I want to jump in now.
Please.
Okay, so we've discussed on this pod, The Illusion of Time.
Yes.
So when we're talking about universes and we're talking about the illusion of time, that means time is not one thing, like one set thing. So it's all happening concurrently in theory.
Correct.
So I think that can explain maybe the multi-universe effect,
100%.
is because like it's all happening simultaneously,
Yes.
and it's all based on our collective experience and our collective decision making and the sway of how things are perceived to be, so it's like the quantum realm. I believe it's weird because when we get to talking about these ideas, we have to reference like movies and stuff, but the more we get into the scientific aspect of it, it's just like they're just tapping into like they said, the quantum science of it all is that like this is all energy, you know what I mean? And this material world can be manipulated. So these things I think are going to be the closest version of what they call like sentient AI and sentient beings, is because it's no longer going to be bound to a 1 or a 0. It's no longer going to be binary, bro. It's almost like they are going to be able to not just learn, but engage and then move like similar to us. They're going to keep pushing this type of thing until they make, like we've been saying, the closest version of us that is possible. And it's going to far exceed us because obviously with the computing power behind it, like we have no chance.
Oh, bro, they said it would take 10 billion years
because we can't even hardly compute
to figure out a problem on one of our computers.
Right.
That this will take literally hours or days at the most.
So our modern computers can pretty much whoop our ass right now. So picture that. You know what I mean? Like the quantum computing. So it's interesting on so many levels, bro. Especially because like how we compared it to the CERN particle collider, where they're trying to open up portals or whatever, and then you compare it to this, where it's kind of like something similar too, like what is the whole idea of seeing what different universes exist? You know what I mean? Are we trying to reach into these different universes?
Oh yeah. Wait, I'm gonna get into that.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So there's one more from a holy book. It says the countless universes, each enveloped in its shell, are compelled by the wheel of time to wander within you, like particles of dust blowing about in the sky. What's amazing is if you notice, you is capitalized. Like he or God is in the Holy Bible. So they're looking at this as if you are a God. That's why that's capitalized. So I wanted to make that distinction.
I like that.
The ancient scripture suggests that parallel universes don't only exist in outer space, but also inner space, and that they also exist within you and I and everyone else. This suggests that you exist in more than one form at the same time, living a parallel life, although completely unaware of the other's existence in a state of constant superposition. So I don't know exactly how this works, but time is even more complex than I can even imagine, because according to quantum physics, we break off into different factions in our life and continue on that path. There may have been a time when you were a skateboarder. I don't know, bro. And let's say you're like, I'm done with that. But one of you didn't stop, bro, and kept going with that. You understand?
Yeah,
so I don't know how that all,
that's hard to
exactly
wrap your mind around.
Yeah. So you have space time and you have time space. So it's my understanding that time space is the material world, and space time is the quantum or the spiritual world. And I may have that backwards, but that would be the best way to explain the two. And the way to break the boundary between those two is to go faster than the speed of light. Because beings that are above us, angels and whatnot, are not light beings. We're light beings. Right. So we vibrate at the speed of light.
Right.
If you can break that speed of light and go faster, then you can get into those other realms. And we've even talked about that on way past pods, bro. Like about a year ago, we were talking about like what if you're digging, and as you're digging a hole, then the dirt appears, right? Because you can't dig at the speed of light. But if you were able to dig at the speed of light, the matrix wouldn't be able to keep up with you.
I got you.
Right?
You see, you would break the fabric, or
you would. You would
veil.
definitely break the veil.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be able to keep up with you and put more dirt there, because it'd be like, oh, dude, the information's too fast. It's wild, bro. So when we experience moments of deja vu, did these things actually happen to us in a parallel life? What about dreams? In dreams, we enter indescribable realms that defy logic and physics, yet these places are real to us, and we never question how they operate. This leads to the idea of life after death. When one life supposedly ends in one universe, can it continue in another? Is this what reincarnation is? If one life supposedly dies in one universe, is its entangled counterpart in another universe doomed to die as well? How would actions in one universe affect the other? That may be something to do with the Mandela effect as well. Maybe something is happening in these other universes, which is leaking over and vice versa. I don't know. Or maybe superpositions are like avatars. If multiple universes exist, can they all be intertwined in a non-local entanglement? In other words, if you can be in 2, 3, 50, or an infinite number of places at once, could all of these yous be avatars of a higher self that controls them all? And if a higher self exists, who is the one and infinite creator? So who's the one that started the whole one of yous? Are you the only you? And if there are 500, which number are you?
Right. Damn it, man. That's a good one right there. I would have to be the one.
Have you seen that movie Jet Li, The One? It's about that.
I think so.
All his as they die, they all get stronger. The ones that are alive get those powers. And then it's down to like 2. And this guy starts jumping universes trying to find this guy and wants to take him out so that he can be it's like some Highlander shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Let me see here. In Forbes, they have 20 mind-boggling facts about quantum computing. I'm obviously not going to go through all 20. But I wanted to talk about this down here at the end. Because I thought it was pretty interesting. So these computers, bro, they got to store them at temperatures negative 460 degrees. That's 0.02 degrees away from absolute zero. That's like, it's the coldest you can get on the planet, bro. Okay? I think this has to do with what you were saying, sentient beings. Because I'm not 100% sure what that is, but through the context of what you were saying, quantum computing is often described as, quote, natural. This is because although we don't completely understand them, the mechanisms underpinning the real world clearly operate at a subatomic level. By simulating this with computers, we come a huge step closer to being able to simulate the natural world.
They're going to fucking really be trying to freeze people and put them in these damn quantum computers where they really live like a vanilla sky life type shit, bro.
Dude, you could have a prison sentence of like 300 years and serve it in like 5 minutes. They'll put you in there and upload you for 5 minutes and be like, torturous thing, and then come back out and be like, yo, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
But it only took 5 minutes.
Right?
Yeah.
That freaky the fuck out.
These last two are cool. We've already been talking about it, but just to kind of drive the point home, at a quantum level, science fiction appears to become reality. Particles can travel backward or forwards in time and teleport between two positions. Yeah. This is known as quantum tunneling.
Yeah. So it goes into our superpowers too, like you were saying, though, that we don't even understand, because that's all they're really tapping into right here with this computing power. Also, it made me think of that mirror city we were looking at before the episode.
That shit was beautiful, bro.
Because those are going to be like the smart cities that they're trying to look at as the cities of the future, where everything's on the grid type thing. It's going to be ran by this type of computing power, bro. Yeah. So it's all kind of...
It'll have to be.
It's all progressing together. Like the 5G, they're going to have probably the 6G rollout when it's time for these quantum computers to be live. So yeah, bro, that shit's all tied together.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. We're going to be like robots at that point. We're already like pretty close.
Damn right. I mean, dude, Neuralink is pretty much taking care of that.
The West world.
And we all walk around with our barcodes on us and shit.
Bro, right? Mine is over there charging. This guy's name is Jordy Rose. He's the guy that makes the, what's that thing called? The D-Wave?
Yeah.
D-Wave quantum computer. So this is about 4 minutes of this speech that I want to, let me see, it starts there and it ends at.
Let's hear from this guy.
20. Now listen to the way he describes this. It's very weird and creepy, dude.
What are you guys up to?
Very weird, very creepy.
This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths.
Monoliths. It's already
Big
started.
Metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat.
Heartbeat.
So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god.
Altar to an alien god.
Impressive machines.
You feeling me yet?
At the heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go. I'm not going to describe in any mathematical detail how it all works, but let me give you an analogy. In quantum mechanics, there's this concept that a thing can exist in two states which are mutually exclusive at the same time, quote unquote. And I'm using those words because the English language was developed before we had concepts to describe what these things actually are doing. But I'm going to give you a roundabout way of understanding this. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there, and now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing, with only one difference. And that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip, which is a contraction of quantum bit. And that qubit is very much like a bit or a transistor in a conventional computer. It has two distinct physical states, which we call 0 and 1 for bit. In a conventional computer, these are mutually exclusive. That device is either one or the other, and never anything else. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And when you increase the number of these devices, every time you add one of these qubits, you double the number of these parallel universes that you have access to, until such time when you get to a chip like this, which is about 500 of these bits, you have something like 2 to the 500th power of these guys living in that chip.
Living in that chip.
So the way I think about it is that the shadows of these parallel worlds overlap with ours. And if we're smart enough, we can dive into them and grab their resources and pull them back into ours.
My question right there.
To make an effect in our world. Now, this may sound very odd to you and bizarre, and in fact, I am using language that a normal theoretical physicist probably wouldn't use. But this is, what I'm telling you is absolutely correct and in line with the way that these things actually work.
There you go.
It's crazy.
They're going into parallel universes, pulling out resources and bringing them back to our world.
That's that Freddy Krueger.
That's that Stranger Things shit, bro. You know what I mean?
And I ain't no bitch, but I gotta ask, what's the repercussions of that?
Why would you even do it?
Because anybody knows that you can't run up in somebody's shit, take their shit, and not expect them to have any response to that. Because he just said the only difference from that universe and ours was a qubit. So damn it, that mean they got the same shit we got then.
Yeah.
They got a D-wave too, motherfucker.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like, we'll be over there.
Maybe that's why shit be changing. They come over, we snatching shit back and forth from dimensions. Dimensional fighting going on,
bro. And I'm piggybacking on what you're saying, like in a real way. I'm not even like being like, oh, that's a funny joke, James. I'm like, nah, yeah, 100%, yeah. fucking dimensional terrorism.
Fuck, bro.
Right? I mean, dude, the CIA will break in your pad, bro, right? And steal shit, just move shit around, just to fuck with you to the point where you hang yourself, bro. You will kill yourself eventually. You'll go nuts. So imagine on an interdimensional level, if you're like, bro, I know he said, Luke, I'm your father. And everyone's just like, I'm jumping off this bridge tomorrow. You know what I mean? These fools in the other dimension are like, we win. We fucking win. Got him. Yeah, man. I believe in all that 100%. But I saw this, and when I looked into it, I had something completely different for this episode of Trip on This. This blew my mind, though. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you saying, buddy? Jordy Rose. So look him up. D-Wave Quantum Computer. They got one at NASA, one at Google, and there's one other one that uses it. I don't know, but yeah. So that was fascinating, bro. It's fascinating, but at the same time, for me, what's the purpose? Like, if you told me theoretically, I would be like, wow, that's fascinating. But I would be like, but you're not going to do it, right? You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you could told me, like, hey, man, I came up with this, equation, and I think I can break into a parallel universe if I applied said equation. I think the responsible thing, bro, as one of your colleagues, I know the responsible thing is to be like, don't ever apply that equation, bro. Don't ever apply that equation, because it makes sense. I just read through your equation, and it makes perfect sense, and I think you're right. We can't play those games. You know what I mean? That's crazy, bro. It's one thing to respect and appreciate, but then it's a whole nother thing to go and do it.
All right, now I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit.
Do it now.
How goofy do they have to be to believe that just because they've put a microchip to the 50th power of a superimposed state, that just because those microbits are in a so-called two different spaces at once, that states that there's multiple realities that they can reach into. So I'm saying, like, yeah, maybe they do have a computing power in order to do more better computing than we have now, because technology is always going to advance. Microchips are always going to get better.
Right.
I think this is going to be something that causes people just to worship, like he said, these computers, because they're going to probably find a way to make our society the way they want it, this whole smart society where everything's efficient and people aren't going to matter. That computer's probably going to be programmed with how to get the population down to that number that they want to get on the Georgia Guidestone type shit.
What if they're asking for that information, What if like they're opening this whatever the fuck is going on with this shit, right? Wherever it goes. And something on the other side is sending back another particle, bro. That isn't that particle. It looks like it. They think they're getting that particle back, but it's not. It's something is like, oh shit, look, they're fucking with us again. Here, move it, send it back.
Right. And you just made me think of something else. If it's not another version of us or another sentient being on the other side of that portal that we're talking about,
yeah,
it could just be that the computer itself can solve our problems that we're proposing to it. Like, it's going to eliminate, like, they've had movies about it anyways, like where, the computer decides to eliminate some of humanity because we're a harm to ourselves type shit. Like, I think that's kind of like an end game scenario I could see with this thing too, is like,
hell yeah,
they're going to put everybody in smart cities, aka like jails, like you said, you know what I mean? But we're going to be happy there, though, because it's going to be like a so-called utopia where everything is efficient.
It's the norm.
It's going to be run.
If that's what you're used to,
that's what that thing is.
That'll be great.
Prepare us for. It reminds me of the fungus you just showed. No, it wasn't a fungus. What was it? It was
it was slime mold.
The slime
fungus,
mold. Yeah. So the slime mold, how it showed those people how to make the most efficient route. Mm-hmm. They're going to use this computer to make the most efficient world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the computer's going to run shit, and that's the portal, bro. The computer, the quantum computer. Because, man, think about how badass AI is already. And then you put this motherfucker at work. That's crazy, bro.
I got one for you. You ready for this? Let's say past civilizations invented one of these, right? Mm-hmm. But let's say theirs instead of D wave, right? Because see how that they got theirs in a nice little hidden facility. I'm sure like it's in some bunker. It's safe. Mm-hmm. Any cataclysm hits, that'll be safe. So future generation finds it and they got to pick its brain or whatever. Maybe it functions still and it's able to give assignments even, right? But so imagine this. In the past, instead of the D wave, there's the GOD. And it's the most marvelous quantum computer you've ever seen, right? And the GOD, bro, is the only thing left in a few people, bro, right? Scattered around the world. And they realize oh shit, look what we found. And the GOD gives them advice on how to repopulate Earth and gives them all the information for the secret societies. And everything that we've been worshiping this whole time, from the beginning of time, was just a fucking computer telling us on how to get back on track to create more of it. It's just a cycle to go back.
Very plausible.
Right? I was thinking about that.
Got me on some Futurama shit
right
now.
Bro. A new movie.
Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.